Welcome to Creative Conversations, where creatives connect and inspire. I'm Sophia, and today we'll be diving into the creative world of Richard Earnshaw, where we'll be talking about his songwriting and DJing. Let's get started. So, Richard.
Hello.
Where did music begin?
For a lot of people, it starts very early on. Both parents were musicians.
Yeah.
Lots of music in the house. My mother was an operatic soprano, so she was a...
Wow, that's amazing.
She was a working musician. My dad was a sound engineer.
So he worked for the BBC?
He did.
Well, that's impressive.
So my kind of interest in technology and production of sound definitely came from him. And he was a great jazz musician as well. So they were very, very supportive of my interest in music.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it was quite easy for me to kind of go through education and then after my university degree go, I'm going to do this and see what happens.
Wow, that's amazing inspiration. So having quite a musical family, it was quite obvious that maybe that was a route you were going to take.
I think it made certain aspects just easier.
Yeah.
You know, I find that, you know, some people I know that don't have music at all in their background, especially the parents, they don't understand what it takes to do it.
Yeah.
But because my parents did, you know, their sort of support for me to go to do it was, they didn't discourage me.
Yeah.
Where a lot of, you know, I can imagine if you're like a, I don't know, a GP or a lawyer or any kind of, you know, fairly responsible job description, and then suddenly your child goes, I want to go and do music, I want to be DJing and da-da-da-da. They're going to, I don't understand the words that have come out of your mouth, so how can I support this when I don't understand it?
Yeah, exactly. But your parents understood it.
So they just kind of let me get on with it, really.
Just dropping myself in it here, but I was watching one of your interviews earlier and you said that your parents kind of forced you to do piano lessons at a young age? Yeah,
I was under, you know, strict rule to start piano.
But how incredible is that? Because I feel like that's really influenced your music
massively,
as time's gone on.
Massively. I think I could probably count, you know, 1 million times and it still wouldn't cover it, the number of times my mum said, you'll thank me one day.
Did you believe it?
No, not when I was 7 years old. I wanted to play football with my mates.
Yeah, I bet.
You know,
I didn't want to do that. How often were you doing these lessons then? Was it quite intense?
I was practicing every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wow.
I was, in the conventional terms, a classically trained pianist.
That's so cool.
So that happened from 7 through till, I kind of stopped when I was about 15, 16. I stopped the lessons anyway. But onwards on from that, good. You know, I did my music degree at Goldsmiths College, so I had to be of a certain standard. So I guess I got to a point where I could kind of muscle my way through it. But I'd already at that point decided I didn't want to be a concert pianist. I didn't want to do that piano playing, you know, a classically centered performance moving forward. I had, my interests were starting to kind of sort of percolate elsewhere. But I had at least got my piano playing up to a standard where I could sit down, play whatever I wanted, and understanding the theory of music and all that kind of stuff, which of course, again, as a producer of music and a songwriter, those skills, whilst not 100% essential, because you can work and collaborate with other people that may have those skills, but it certainly helped me, you know, because I was doing it all on my own to start with. Yeah, exactly.
To know the foundation and to be classically trained must have a really big impact in your work.
It does, yeah.
And I love the fact, because obviously you specialise, I would say, in a lot of house music, but I would say there's a lot of soul and jazz in there too.
Massive amounts. Certainly the sort of house music that I fell into making. I mean, I didn't understand anything about the culture of dance music or different genres of dance music at all when I started. I was making beats using electronic, you know, samplers and synthesizers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that. Is that like one of those weird little keyboards?
It's one of those really expensive little boxes that makes noises.
What even are those?
Well, just fun, basically.
Just fun.
It's fun, all in a box. But because I suppose my performance interests were transitioning from the classically trained Richard, you know, to a more jazz-focused thing, I wanted to explore more harmonies and, you know, the structure of jazz, modes and all the other stuff. And because I was starting to play that music, and I thought, what happens if I play this over these drums that I've just made? And then, you know, effectively I was making sort of soulful house or, you know, US garage or whatever it was called back then. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who all these artists like Dave Morales, Frankie Knuckles, Masters at Work, you know, there's a whole long list of inspirational DJs and producers from that era that I guess I was put in the same sort of pocket of music or a similar pocket of music, and I was like, I don't know who these people are.
No,
I'm massively I'm an imposter here.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy from England making some stuff. I don't know what it's called.
No,
and so it took a long time for me to understand that there was an industry, there was a scene, there was a culture of this. I was like, oh, cool.
And that is kind of combining different sounds together, different genres of music. Would you say is that?
I think it was just because to say dance music, there's so much dance music out there. There's so many different types of genres.
I know.
But this particular genre that I found myself making was so heavily song-based. I was able to write songs, throw some jazz bits together around it, put it over some electronic drums that I programmed on whatever equipment I could lay my hands on.
Yeah.
And it was a thing.
Yeah.
So I guess, I was excited by the fact that I could do this thing, and then imagine what it was like when suddenly I realised, wow, I could make a living out of this.
Oh my God, what an amazing feeling. And how old were you when you realised that?
Probably about 17, 18.
That's quite young then.
I was weird. I was a full-on nerd at school.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's probably why you're so good at it, because you're also a sound engineer. Is that right? I'm good friends with a photographer. We work together all the time. I've just come back from Italy with him, and he is a trained sound engineer, and he worked for the Royal Opera House in London. And he is the biggest nerd I've ever met. Like, I love him, but so nerdy. I think to be a sound engineer,
I was a full nerd. I was the kid that, would get up on stage with all this stuff, computers and synths, and do the assemblies,
No way, did you?
And everybody in the audience would be like, sort of politely clapping, going, "What? I don't understand what this is."
Oh my God, have you got any videos of that?
No, there was no. This is a long time ago now.
That's the thing. You guys are lucky because you didn't have that evidence when you're younger.
No, but it was character building,
Yeah.
I did it so many times, and every time people were like, "What do you do that, Rich?" Nobody really's not bothered. And I'm like, because I love it.
No, but look where you are now.
Indeed.
That unwavering confidence in what you were doing.
I would absolutely say that by getting up and doing those things, and I was never ridiculed at all, but it was, again, it was a lack of understanding. People just didn't understand what I was doing. And I was like, it'll make sense one day.
It sounds like you must have been quite a cool nerd, though, to not get bullied for it. People just went, fair enough, don't really like it.
I was very much a wafty kid. I just had,
so they couldn't
I was friends with the super nerds, the maths nerds and the science nerds. I was equally quite comfortable in the company of, the bullies and all the hard nuts and, this group and that group. And I was just kind of this inoffensive little sort of human that sort of dotted around.
Get it. I was the same. No one could ever bully me because I was too away with the fairies. And I used to like being friends with anyone. And the nerds are great because it helped me with my maths and English homework, which I was never good at.
Well, your nerds are better than my nerds because mine never helped me with mine.
Really?
No.
Oh.
No.
Do you struggle with that kind of stuff then?
I was rubbish at maths. I passed my GCSEs.
Did you?
Just.
I never did.
But I was never a mathematician. And that's another weird thing because on a daily basis, ever since I kind of left the educational system to do what I now do as my job, I use maths all the time.
Really?
Like all the time. You're calculating stuff. It's all frequencies. There's so much calculation going on when you're in like full nerd sound engineer mode.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. My goodness.
So, I'd never have thought in a million years, back then, that I'd be using so much of that.
So did you get trained as a sound engineer? Is that what you studied?
I didn't know. I mean, I did do some modules in sound engineering in my music degree. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was more, it was hands-on. I was really lucky. I could get hold of equipment. There was stuff in the school that I was at and I would just disappear. I'd just be gone. Where's Richard? He should be in English literature. Mm-hmm. He's in the music room downstairs.
Yeah.
It's like, can you go and get him, please? But I was never really told off for it, I guess, because I wasn't...
Do you think they saw a talent in you?
I think they saw me not smoking in the bike sheds and just thought, he's doing something proactive and something useful down there, but we would rather you came to your lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was purely just like I had equipment and I was just going to stick to using it the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was, I suppose I was self-educated in a way. I understood what was going on, but the practical nature of what you do, it is just getting the hours in. Mm-hmm. You can read all the books you like, but, it's having a keen ear, understanding what you're doing with all the stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that was just me bunking off lessons, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'm not saying anyone should bunk off lessons, by the way.
No.
But if you're going to bunk off lessons, do something useful with your bunk time.
Well, when I had to... Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had to retake maths in college. And everyone knew I was going to fail it. There was no way, because I wasn't putting any time or effort into it. And also, I'm totally crap at maths. I have dyscalculia, so it literally moves around on the page. And it was the same as you. I used to hide in the print design studio, and I would be doing extra work for that. And in the end, they just let me hide in there, and I would just do my art. But exactly. I think a good teacher... No, they shouldn't let you bunk, but they should definitely encourage you with the thing that you're passionate about. They see your talent.
And unfortunately, actually, the arts are one of the things that are being sort of struck out of, out of education now.
It's really sad.
It's really sad. Schools are struggling for money. What should we drop? I'll drop music. Oh, yeah. Everything is getting squeezed. But it's a real shame that sort of artists that want to really nurture their skills, artists that clearly have a talent, have been noted to have a talent, are having to work so hard to have that seen these days.
But do you think they need to be educated to do it these days, especially musicians? And artists.
I think these days the education lies, from my own experience, is almost sort of like a parallel thing to the art itself. So I'll never forget this. There was a friend of mine who I've been friends with for a very, very long time. And he once said to me a few years ago, he said, "Oh, Rich, I'd love to just be able to get up in the morning and make music for a living like you do." And I was like, it is brilliant, but let me just say something. It's not the making of the music that makes the living. Exactly. It's the stuff that you have to do with it. So there's so much to understand about how... I don't even like to use the word exploitation, but that's essentially what you have to do. You have to exploit your art to create revenue in some way or other.
It's so true. You've got to be really good at self-promotion.
You do. And then, obviously, the internet's changed everything. Social media has changed everything. So all the things that I thought that I knew about, everything I needed to know to exploit my music, to make a living out of it, suddenly went out the window.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, I'm too old to have to learn a whole new thing. And it's like, well, if I don't, then I won't be waking up every morning and making music for a living.
Exactly.
So let's just have a look to see what's going on here.
Yeah, but at least you take the time to actually move with the times and do it, because some people are so stubborn they just won't.
I am extremely stubborn.
Really? And you still did?
I get told all the time by people who are perhaps considered experts with social media in particular, saying, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be doing, all these things I should be doing, apparently. And I'm like, I can't be bothered.
No.
I can't be bothered with it.
I can't get on board with TikTok. I've tried.
I've got one, and suddenly lots of people started following me because they probably were waiting for me to finally get on TikTok.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
I'm barely, literate with things like Instagram and Facebook, to be honest.
Well, I feel like there's depending on how old you are, there's a platform for you. So my mum is addicted to Facebook. I hate Facebook, but Instagram is my guilty pleasure. I'm on there all the time. But TikTok, I think, is for the slightly younger generation.
I have been told this, but there's also understanding where your art is best suited as well. Because if you think about it, my music can be heard, and nobody's going to say when they hear that music, oh, well, he's blatantly a 50-year-old man.
No, definitely
because I'm hidden. I'm hidden behind it. I'm hidden behind it all.
Proper party music.
So it's much easier for me, I suppose, to kind of not have to put myself visually, apart from this exact scenario now where we're on camera.
But I think they probably like to see your face.
They probably would. They?
Yeah, I know. I think so, because they like to connect with the person that's creating.
And this is one of the things that I've been told.
Yeah,
Rich, you should use your platforms, do more videos. You speak well. You know so much that could help younger artists. And I'm like, I'm all good for that.
Yeah,
but it's
But the problem is you're so busy, and when you're in the middle of creating, the last thing you want to do is, 1 minute, I'll just set a camera up and I'll start recording, because I have this when I'm painting, because people want to watch the process, but it ruins the creative flow when you're constantly worrying about staging things and making it look like. Most of the time when I'm painting, I look like crap. I'm in like a baggy t-shirt, no makeup, but for Instagram it looks like I'm flawless every time I'm doing a painting, and it's all a lie. Social media is a lie.
I'm definitely full of flaws. I like my flaws. I shall retain them. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there are producers I know that have spent a lot of time, effort and money making sure that their studio looks a certain way, that they've got cameras in the right places to create all this content. And I'm just sitting there going, I just like to be able to sit at my piano at the correct height and just play and be able to access all the things I need to access when those ideas start to kind of really form.
Yeah.
And I can go, right, quick, record, bosh, we're off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Amazing.
Whilst I agree I should be thinking, this would be lovely to share with people.
Yeah.
But I'm so caught up in what I'm doing, it's so secondary to what I'm up to.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it is hard for me to just kind of just flip that switch and go.
Because your studio's at home, isn't it?
It is. It's it is an outbuilding, so it's in its own little spot.
Oh, okay. So because you have family, don't you?
Yeah,
you have kids.
I do.
Do you struggle with kind of separating yourself from the family when you're trying to create? Or...
No, not really.
No?
I mean, I guess when you're in the same way, if I imagine that when I was growing up, you know, it was a busy household.
Yeah.
Nobody was on a 9 till 5, shall we say.
Oh, really?
No,
oh, yeah.
nobody. It was
family.
all just, everything was happening at all times of the day and night.
Yeah.
And the same goes with, you know, my kids have been so kind of used to, you know, when I go away and I'm DJing, for example, you know, up until the pandemic, really, most of my DJing was overseas.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do you love the travelling?
Yeah, I do.
Because since I starting modelling, I've been to, like all over the world travelling, and I absolutely love it.
I do.
And I do find it tiring sometimes.
Oh, it's hugely exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real problem for, you know, regularly touring DJs.
And I guess Europe, DJing all through the night at these things. Do you ever want to just slow down a bit and not have to be partying so much? Because in my 20s, I want to go to bed at like 9 o'clock. I'm so boring.
I guess I've managed to. I suppose that I've never really kind of, as a DJ, if we just compact the conversation just to that, I've never really put myself or got myself to the dizzy heights of, say, other DJs when they're on the road and they're doing 4, 5, 6 gigs a week, week in, week out. You know, I would imagine that I could probably stomach that for a little while and then be like, guys, I'm done. This is rubbish. I want to go to bed early, you know.
Yeah.
So because for whatever reason, maybe again, being stubborn, it's like, I could put so much effort into being that thing, but I just love just sitting and playing the piano and making music and da-da-da. So my DJing has always kind of sort of bubbled sort of mid-range, I suppose I'd like to call it. So I've never had to do so much of it where it's become that thing.
How often do you tour then? How often are you travelling, performing?
I mean, it can be most weekends.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But say since the pandemic, most of my DJing has been in the UK, which has been quite nice because I was travelling a lot before then.
Really?
And airports become extremely tiresome.
Where would you mainly perform? Where would you do a lot of your DJing?
Overseas?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, everywhere. Literally everywhere. All over Europe, South America, Russia, China, Japan, New Zealand, Australia.
Really?
All over.
You know what?
And of course Ibiza, you know, everyone.
Ibiza. Yeah. Oh my God, how cool. I bet that's so fun, isn't it?
It is fun.
I've never been to Ibiza.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I know. I don't know. I'm boring.
That needs to be put right.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was also going to say, I don't think I've ever seen you live, which is really bad.
No.
For anyone listening, me and Richard are actually family friends. So Richard, I used to call you Uncle Richard growing up. So my dad's a musician, and you guys used to basically make music together back in the day, didn't you?
Your dad and I met in 1994.
Really?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. How did you guys come about? Where did that friendship stem from?
I was basically starting my second year at Goldsmiths. And Mark Horwood.
Oh, Mark, I was going to bring him up.
He did his first year at the Leeds College of Music.
Oh.
And I can never remember the reason why, but he was just a bit fed up with what was going on there. Yeah. And then so he decided to transfer to Goldsmiths. And so Raymond Hall, which was the hall of residence that I was in for the first year, I was basically too wrapped up in being a nerd that I completely didn't organise, like everyone else did, a house share. So, of course, it got to the point where it's like, oh, where are you going to live? You know, and I was like, oh, everyone else has kind of sorted themselves out. I was like, oh, do you know what, sod it, I'll just stay at Raymond Hall again for another year. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. And that's where Mark was going to stay for his second year. So in the Raymond Hall bar, Mark was introduced to me by a friend, Rael Braverman, I remember, like it was yesterday. And he said, I've just met this guy. He's just come down from Leeds, and he's come down with his mate Matt. He's starting the music course. I thought I'd introduce you.
Oh, fantastic.
And so I met Mark that night and your dad.
No way.
Yeah.
So you met them at the same time?
Exactly the same time, yeah.
That's crazy. Mark was a genius.
He was, yeah.
You're all a bunch of really creative and talented guys. That's amazing. What a cool group of friends.
It was, and we had a great time, and I started to visit this area, the Chichester area, because I'm from North London originally.
North London. That was a shock to system coming to Chichester from North London, no?
I loved it.
Really?
My mum's side of the family are from North Wales, or from the farming community, so I was very used to countryside and the quiet life.
I prefer that to London life, actually. I find it a bit too intense.
I guess the benefit of this area in particular is that you can have a good balance of both, because you're not too far away. So we used to bunk off lessons.
Really? Yeah. Was my dad a rebel growing up? Because he likes to make out
these stories. We should probably leave.
We should filter it out.
We should filter these ones out
because he makes it out like he was pretty wild back in the day, and I don't know.
He had his moments, yeah.
So did you guys? Because I know Mark had a band called the Mummers, and I know my dad performed in that, and you guys had something together prior to that, didn't you?
So Mark and I were just sort of making music. We were just doing stuff, we were just
something orchestra.
Yeah, Fusion Groove Orchestra.
Fusion Groove Orchestra. Yeah. So what is that? Because I tried to look it up earlier.
We, amongst all the nerding about in the studio, obviously going to the pubs in Chichester. I mean, Chichester was a very different place back then. There was so many pubs, and there were live bands all the time, every day of the week. I don't know.
Apparently there used to be street parties in
There was
Chichester.
loads of cool stuff going on.
Really?
Yeah, it was a really, really vibrant place, for, artistically speaking.
Yeah.
As I say, you had DJs, bands, the festival theatre had stuff all the time. Not that it doesn't now, it still does, but, you had the Real Ale and Jazz Festival as well. Which
I used to love that.
There was so much going on.
Yeah.
And for reasons unbeknown to me, it's been slowly kind of dying out, really, which is a real shame. But
yeah, that's sad.
Back then you could go out any night of the week, go to the pub, it was full.
Yeah.
And there was stuff going on musically. And we met a guy called Piers Penfold in the White Horse, I think it was.
Piers Penfold?
Yeah. I think
name.
It was the White Horse, which then became Prezzo. On South Street of Chichester.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, I guess, more centres from the DJing aspect. He was definitely DJing and had these, a great vinyl collection of soulful house stuff. And so he'd heard what we were doing. You couldn't do it on smartphones back then, but check it out. We'd hook up and play some tapes of things, and he's like, "You're making this kind of music, guys." Wow.
Yeah.
So me and Mark were like, "Oh, cool. Well, should we just make some music like this then?" So we became a trio, and then we started doing, a lot of remixing with some of the major record labels.
Wow.
Which, back then was a real thing,
What kind of record labels?
Oh, well, back, obviously there were more majors back then, but we were working with Virgin Records, Sony, BMG, Warner Brothers, all of it. It was just...
That's incredible.
And Piers was integral to kind of feeding what we were doing into that circle.
Oh, he sounds like an important person to me.
He was really important to, for what we were doing. And I guess in a way, not to kind of dumb ourselves down, but because you had all these, successful and obviously quite expensive American DJ producers making the same music, we were kind of peddled in as like, well, these are English, we're just three English guys, and we're doing this music, but for a lot less money.
Yeah. And
so of course they were like, oh, cool.
Oh, so they liked it.
So we would start doing all this music, and they were like, this is amazing,
How cool is that? So this was when you were in college, was it?
No, this is after university. So
university.
This is 1997. I moved down from London.
So was that when you kind of decided this is what I want to do full time, or was that way earlier on?
It was way earlier on, but I think that. So we graduated in '96. Mark was from this area anyway. I went back to the family home in North London just for a few months, just to kind of figure out what my next step was going to be.
Yeah.
And I remember Mark phoning me up, and he said, "Rich, I've had it. I've had it with the electrical problems." He had a studio set up.
Yeah.
So I've just dismantled the whole thing, and we just were speaking on the phone, and the upshot was, it's like, well, let's rebuild the studio like as a proper, something that we could offer as a service.
Oh, that's cool. So where was his studio then?
It was at his parents'.
Is this the treehouse one?
Yeah, the treehouse.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah. Wow.
So in 97, I basically said to my parents, look, I think this is going to be a really exciting thing to do.
Yeah.
So I had a few bits of studio stuff myself. So I gathered my life, literally, put it all in the back of the car.
So you all kind of shared that studio space then?
We shared the studio. Well, we effectively rebuilt the studio completely as the treehouse. Really? So we, got it all properly, floating floors, insulated, the whole thing, and
I was trying to explain that to my boyfriend, that you had a recording studio in a treehouse, and it sounds pretty wild, doesn't it?
It was such a good space.
It was cool.
A lot of stuff happened there.
Yeah.
We learned so much about the industry in that space. We learned so much about our own sort of creative developments, and the Fusion Rig of Orchestra thing was happening there. It's the place where Spirit Chaser started, which is the partnership I've had with Bamo, which is slightly, it's kind of like, it's a much deeper electronic music.
Electronic music.
And it was also where I suppose Richard Earnshaw, as is now known, started there as well.
Oh my God, so that's like a very exciting...
It was a real kind of, centre.
Moment.
Yeah, it was a big moment place.
That's incredible.
And we did lots of work with other people as well. We were doing radio advertising with Steve, who of course, who works at the BBC.
It's a small world, isn't it? Very close-knit.
And so we were doing so much, and we offered so much. 1997, we were one of the first, if not the first, studio outside of London to offer the Pro Tools system, like digital recording.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds incredible.
So
wow,
it was one of those things. It was a hugely expensive system back then.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's just throw everything at it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
That's
and
amazing. Do you think Mark was very helpful with all of that? Do you think he really helped push all of that?
I think we were all, I think that's what made it work so well, is that we all brought our own particular enthusiasms to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you threw that all into the big pot, and, and out came just a gorgeous tasting musical stew.
Was there any crazy moments that stick out to you in that studio that were surprising to you?
Oh gosh, I mean... Wow. I mean, there were so many interesting things. I mean, the one particular, it wasn't necessarily crazy or wild, but we did a remix for Lyndon David Hall. And it wasn't long before he passed. And we did this version of a track of Forgive Me. So we did the remix, but then we did a B-side. And it was 11 minutes long. And... the reason it was so long was because we thought, let's get some sax played on this. And then I can't remember the connection. I'm pretty sure it was through Mark, and possibly even back then through Mark Keane as well.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he lives in France now, but there was this real close-knit community, and ultimately we sort of bounced around, and we ended up having a sax player called Bobby Wellings come in.
Bobby Wellings.
And he lived in Bognor.
Well.
And he was such a well-respected jazz saxophonist.
Wow.
He had literally been around the block and got all the T-shirts more times we've even got one T-shirt. He was an incredible musician. And I remember him coming in, and this very short little Scottish chap, I think he must have been in his 70s then. Mm-hmm. He's no longer with us, but we were just chatting, and he was telling us about all of his adventures, with some of these well-known and notable jazz musicians. On all the experiences, and you just think, we think that we party hard, but these guys are on a different level. I mean,
the jazz musicians, really, they party
in that
hard.
period. It was just incredible, the stories he had. And then we thought, right, we should probably get on with some work, shouldn't we? So we just sort of, gathered ourselves and set up the mic, and we played him what we would like him to play on, and he was really into it, because it was dance music, but it was quite soulful, and there was a lot of jazz influence in there. So straight away he was like, I'm really liking, the musical side of this.
Yeah.
And then he just started playing, and it was just, I'll never forget it. Even now, I listen to it now and I think, I've never, ever, ever, ever heard anyone play life through an instrument like that.
Really?
It was just amazing. It's proper, the hairs were just, every hair I had was on edge, standing up. It was just to hear the storytelling coming through was just, amazing. I'll never, ever, ever forget that.
Really? Have you used him? Oh, he's passed now.
He's passed now. We did use him on a couple of other things, but that one particular day, that one particular session, it was the first one.
There, in that small room, and you got to hear that.
And when I speak to friends now who are saxophonists themselves and have a reasonable understanding of who the players were, and you mentioned Bobby Wellings, they're just like, yeah, we know who he is. You recorded with him
in that,
and so, but we weren't really aware of quite how influential he was.
Yeah, because you've worked with some amazing people, haven't you?
We have been very lucky, yeah.
I was watching some of your interviews earlier, and I saw a bit that I found very inspiring. So you used to have a recording studio in your bedroom, didn't you? I'm like that with my art, painting in my room. I did that at uni a lot. But you managed to get Jocelyn Brown to come and record in your bedroom studio.
I did.
Right?
Yeah. This was when I was recording vocals for my first album. And that was an amazing process. So she got the backing track and she was well into it. She was like, I love it. It's proper kind of hands in the air gospel feels to it.
Yeah.
So left her to it, and then it was like, I've got something. Do you want to come up to my house in Wembley? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, cool.
My God, exciting!
So off we went, and it was all full on chicken, rice, and peas. Sitting on the sofa. She had her family with her. I was sat next to Oliver Cheetham.
Oliver Cheetham.
There's a particular record that he did that was really successful sort of in the early 2000s, and I've had a massive brain fart and I can't remember what it is now.
Okay.
I Like to Party. It was used on the Lynx advert.
Okay.
And he was exactly as I imagined him to be. He had like a gold suit on, a huge medallion with OC written on it.
Oh, brilliant.
And we were just sitting next to each other, and she was like, okay, we're just going to sing it and see what you think. And so I've basically got half of like a gospel choir in front of me singing this song. And part of me was like, well, luckily, I really like it.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, how would I say, can we work on these bits? I was like, I was just like little old me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the energy in that room was just incredible.
Yeah.
And then, so it was like, okay, let's record it. And so she came down I was living in Chichester at the time and on a top floor flat. So she came down from London.
No way.
Yeah, and we were recording, had the windows open, and some friends of mine had been walking up the street and they said, there was somebody singing in your flat earlier, Rich. Who the hell was that?
Yeah,
that was Jocelyn Brown. They're like, pardon, what?
Yeah, what? Oh my God, that's so cool. Whereabouts in Chichester did you used to live?
It was a flat opposite the George and Dragon.
George and Dragon, because do you remember Mark's old place? In Chichester.
Cavendish Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
I live on Cavendish Street now.
Do you really?
I live next door to that house.
No way.
Yeah. And I didn't realise that at the time. It's just when we went house hunting recently, we found it, thought it was really cute. And then I was like, I'm just really, I don't know why, it's bringing back a lot of memories here. And I was like, oh my God, I was brought up in that house literally next door.
27 Cavendish Street it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So weird.
So that's where I lived for, what was it now? Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
I lived with Mark whilst we were doing this whole kind of new adventure.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'll never forget, actually, because the pub, which is, I can't remember the name of it now, it's a very good Indian restaurant. It used to be called the Rainbow Inn.
Is that the one near Cavendish Street?
The one right near Cavendish Street.
Is it called Punch?
I can't remember what it's called. I went there a couple of weeks ago and it's very, very good.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that I moved down from London, brought all my stuff down. It was just all over there. And we're like, oh, let's go to the local pub. It's like, yeah, we'll go to the local pub. And, we definitely had too much to drink.
Yeah.
And then because I brought a load of stuff down, we ended up, I'll never forget this, we were sitting on the sofa that I brought down. It was my granddad's sofa. It was like a really kind of cool, stylish 60s sofa. It's probably worth a fortune if I still had it now.
Probably.
And we were just sat in the middle of the street in the middle of the night, just having a few beers.
Oh my God,
just sort of amazing. Sitting there going, well, this is the start of it all.
Oh, what a great feeling.
It was that, this is it. This is the moment where we have this, God, we don't know what's in front of us, but we were so excited about it all.
Yeah. How magical.
And then, of course, the next morning, all the neighbours are like, have you seen those two characters that moved into number 27? They were pissed out their heads sitting on the sofa and, in the middle of the street.
I feel like you should have done a shoot for an album cover on that couch in the middle of the street.
That
would have been really cool.
If somebody had a camera at the time, it would have been amazing.
It would, yeah. The way I'm picturing it is pretty iconic, actually.
Obviously, this is pre-smartphone, so it would have been a good old-fashioned 35mm camera.
Yeah, exactly. But it should have been done. We should remake it now, I reckon.
Yeah, there's a few more wrinkles now, though. Yeah. We can edit those out in post, can't we?
Photoshop.
There you
That's
go.
What it's for,
sorted.
Honestly. So, changing the subject slightly, obviously you've been very successful. How do you keep things fresh with your music? You've been doing it a long time now.
I think whilst I have, to be able to continue to do it, clearly nurtured a thing that I found myself quite good at and what people were really interested in hearing, so all the house stuff. I guess as the time has kind of progressed, certainly in the last few years, I've started to just make music for me more.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to get too caught up and think, well, I need to kind of do this because this is the thing that pays the bills, so I need to do that, otherwise the bills don't get paid.
Exactly.
But I think just to kind of get to that stage now where I can go, well, I'm still doing that. I'm still wanted and needed by, that particular part of the industry, which I'm very grateful for, clearly. But now I'm kind of, I'm just going to turn on the stuff and I'm going to be that 15-year-old me again, just to see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good advice, because if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to lose interest in it and it's not going to be very good.
It's really, really hard at the moment, I think, because, social media has had such an impact on the arts in both good and bad ways. We won't go into that. That's a whole different podcast, really. That
it really is. That's a big subject.
We'll be here for weeks. But I think that it's, we've a lot of people, most of us, myself included, at times can kind of fall into a trap where you think, I need to do something that other people are going to be interested in.
Yeah.
And I think that you can kind of get quite lost in what your creative process is then. Because actually the thing that made them interested in what you're doing in the first place was probably they heard something different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then because you have their attention because you did something different, you think, well, I've got to keep doing this, which you do to a certain degree. People do they like familiarity with artists that they follow. But at the same time, you've also got to throw in, a few cats amongst the pigeons as well, and really explore your own creative aspirations. And I still do that now after all these years. I don't kind of just think, I'm a has-been now. I've been doing it long enough. It's time to hand it over to
That's
the
when you
younger
give
generation.
up, is when you start thinking of yourself like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't ever. Just keep experimenting.
It's just turn the computer on, sit in the studio, and just immerse myself in whatever might be in my head at the time.
Yeah.
And then just sort of lay it down. And if it starts to venture down a path which is perhaps not as familiar as some would expect, I get really excited by that.
Yeah.
I just think, oh, wow, okay, well, that can go into my excited folder on my computer. And then whilst I'm still doing these other things and obviously just helping a lot with other artists from a technical aspect, I really enjoy, taking a track idea, somebody that's written, they've produced it, it's arranged, it's pretty much good to go. But, because they are aware of their own limitations, perhaps, it's like, I need someone to help make this sound great.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. I love to then go, don't worry, send all the bits over to me and I'll send it back to you.
Challenge.
And, I'll mix it down, we'll get it all mastered and it's going to sound lovely.
So where do you draw the line when it comes to technology? Music?
I don't really have a line.
No?
No, I mean, AI has obviously been quite a talking point for
Same with modelling and photos. You don't even need models anymore. You can just generate one.
Yeah, I think that, as is usually the case with a lot of big technological leaps, we all get very excited.
Yes.
How can we do this? How can we use this? What's it going to do? And I've used AI in some productions. I have identified, for me, in my processes, where it could help.
Okay.
So, for example, I'm working on a record and the artist has been and gone, and we get to a stage and you think, oh, could have really done with a few extra vocal layers in this particular section of the song.
Yeah.
You know, it's an afterthought. It happens. Rather than get that artist or other performers in, you know, at a cost of some description, and then one of two things happening: it really works, brilliant, or, oh, no, it hasn't worked, shit, we've wasted hundreds of pounds.
Exactly.
I can now use AI to kind of go, right, let's just have a look to see if it's working. It's never going to work well enough, not for me. At the moment, anyway. Who knows what's going to happen in a few years' time? But point for now, I can use that technology and go, right, okay, actually, do you know what? I think that's going to work. We ditch the AI, we get the performers in, and it's not going to be a waste of money then.
No.
You know, so
it can really help with music.
Massively, yeah.
Massively.
It can massively help.
But you'd never use it fully.
It's being abused. I mean, of course it is. You know, lots of people using it to create records from scratch, vocals.
Yeah, so are there musicians that purely use AI and nothing else?
Yeah, there are.
That's quite scary, isn't it?
If they're having fun doing it, do you know what? Crack on. You know, my energy's best spent elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, we recently had a record sent to us for our record labels, actually. And they used a vocal that, in fact, did belong to someone else. So I was like, well, you can't use that. And then we got the same track with a vocal. I was like, this is interesting. Where's this from? And he goes, it's totally AI generated. Completely.
Wow.
Lyrically, melodically, everything. I was like, wow. Okay, that is pretty incredible.
That is incredible.
And I said, I think what you need to do now is to use this AI as a means of fine-tuning what you're going to get an artist to do.
Yeah.
You know, use it as a part of your, it's a tool. Use it as part of your sort of creative, you know, gatherings of melody and lyric. I said, we won't sign this record with an AI vocal because we believe in supporting artists. You know,
I like that.
So, but we are fully happy for people to use it as part of the process.
Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, when it comes to the other end, we want human beings to have created that art.
Do you think a lot of record labels will be doing that? Producers? Or are they?
I don't know. I mean, you know, we're not, you know, we don't take this stance to kind of sort of profess like we're going to lead by example. This is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's just the way. It's just our moral standing. This is what we want to do.
No, I think that's really important.
If people want to kind of go, do you know what? Actually, you know, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Let's do the same. If they don't, well, it's up to them.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We can't. You know, there's no forcing of use it or don't use it. It's if you're ignorant to its potential, I think that's an issue.
Yeah.
I think you need to, even if you don't want to use it, I think it's important to understand it and understand how it's being used.
Yeah, exactly. You're missing out massively as well. Like my mum's totally anti-AI. She won't go anywhere near it. But I think it could actually really help her with some of her online work, but she just won't touch it at all, which I understand. But people were like that with computers when they first came out. And
people don't like change. They just don't like change. But I mean, you know, lots of people, again, you know, people are using AI to, you know, write CVs, for example, to help them put CVs together.
That would help me.
Depending on the kind of, I don't know, the destination for the CV, I'd imagine most people, you know, HR and all that, are going to go, this is a bit AI, this one.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You will start to see this, you know. So you have to just use that and go, okay, well, this is a really good starting point.
Yeah.
So what I need to know is just to disassemble all of this and re-present it from me.
Yes.
You know, because it is my emotion and my point of view and everything about me that is likely to be the thing that gets me that job.
Yeah. That's true.
Legal work, for example, you know, I've spoken to many solicitors, in particular copyright lawyers, you know, about their views on AI. And they're like, yeah, you can literally put all the stuff that you need, you know, in one of these AI generators, Grok or ChatGPT or whatever, and it's going to give you a recording agreement. But it's still going to require a trained lawyer to go through that and go, we need to just, the punctuation's not correct here.
Yeah.
You know, without that done, that contract is not watertight, or, you know, it's going to...
So we'll never be able to fully rely on AI. We're always going to need a human being to do something.
I don't know the answer to that one. Maybe sooner than we think, or maybe it'll be so far down the road it won't personally impact me, but I don't know. I think we just have to be open to the fact that it might be.
I think us creatives might come on top in the end, though, because AI is going to take over so much that people might crave things that are actually hand done.
Yeah, of course they will.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like I would, personally.
Yeah.
Like when I see an AI artwork, yeah, it's amazing, but I'd much rather appreciate an artwork of an artist that spent months doing it. And it's the same with a beautiful song.
Yeah,
if it's
absolutely.
just wrote on AI,
I
don't think it hits the same. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the importance of the story behind the art's creation.
Yeah.
Is the thing that will never be captured by AI, because there is no backstory.
No, it's not. It's just generated
there it
out
is.
Nowhere.
You know, so maybe that's the future for art, whether it's, audio, visual, whatever. People will start, I suppose social media will help that, won't they?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we've made this beautiful sculpture, or we've made this beautiful record, or we've made this this painting, or this incredible collection of photography. There's a backstory there.
Yeah.
And I think people are more interested in that, or will become more interested in that. It's a bit like the old CD inlays. We've been streaming music for so long now. Mm-hmm. You can just skip through things, I'll listen to that. I see it with my own children, their listening habits. Have you ever listened, neither of my children have listened to a whole album, start to finish.
Really?
No.
That's quite...
Because
I have a select few albums that I love, but actually nowadays, no, it's usually just individual songs on a Spotify playlist.
Yeah. They make their own playlists up of their favourite songs. I'm like, but if you don't listen to the album that was created by that artist, there's a story that runs from track 1 to track 10 or track 12, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's sometimes, in order to really understand an artist and to follow the artist, is to kind of get into their head a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is often like with CD inlays. I would always read all the stuff in the inlay, because you'd have your lyric sheets, you could read the lyrics, and there was story there. All the thanks, for example. A lot of people are under this weird impression that music, it can just happen with AI. But, I used to love reading all the credits, and it would list every single person that was involved in the production of that record.
How come you like reading the credits? Were you just curious about who did what?
I suppose I was curious as to how much effort it took to create that record.
Yeah, I bet it's a lot.
And it's always a lot more
to it than you think.
You think, yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I'm just on my own, like, and I'm doing a record, for example, and I go, there's the record. Mm-hmm. Whilst there may not have been anybody else with me in the room, mm-hmm. but there are so many other people involved.
Yeah. I was going to ask, actually, it's quite a good lead to the next question, is you have a lot of different creative roles. How do you balance them all?
With great difficulty.
Because you do so much.
Yeah.
How do you manage to juggle it all?
In terms of music creation, I've got all these sort of projects that I work on, and they're all very different musically. But I guess that I don't find difficult, because as a teenager, when I was sort of figuring out all this stuff, I didn't just make a particular type of music. I was just, whatever happened, whatever came into my head, and I was just making all this music. It was a discovery of, of my sort of creative outpourings. And so by being able to do that now and have all these different, kind of parcels of my music sort of explorations is easy. The difficulty is I'm the same person doing it. And so, of course, I've got, I don't know how many Instagram profiles.
Really? Have you got
and they all represent different projects.
Oh.
And it's like, my face is there on all of them in some way or other. And it's like, oh. So I find the difficulty is presenting that work.
Yeah.
Independently of myself presenting some other work on a different thing.
So do you not speak as if it's you being like, hey guys, do you talk as if Richard Earnshaw is blah, blah, blah? Do you know what I mean?
What I've started doing now is just going, do you know what, guys? Here I am, and this is all the music that I make.
Yeah.
I'm going to basically let you know about all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I did the first album, actually my only album so far was as Richard Earnshaw, was In Time with Jocelyn and Roy Ayres, and it's so many people.
I've shown
and your dad was heavily involved in that album.
That music video you made in the church, with Jocelyn.
Yeah.
I've shown so many people, because when people go, "Oh, your dad's a musician. What's he done?" I always bring that up.
Yeah.
And I just think, look, he's in the back playing the bass. But that music video is friggin' so cool. I love it.
It was. And you know, all the people in that video, when the guys that were doing it said, let's put these people in the shot. I was like, I just want everybody that's involved with this project to have a little moment to be a part of it.
I think you did a good job at that. Because the kind of spotlight kind of goes on each person, and that kid breakdancing in the church.
Yeah.
What's that track called, just for anyone listening?
That's called Worthy.
Worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, we've gone round. Where were we going with this?
Sorry,
right. So that's fine. So that album, I wanted to present a body of work as Richard Earnshaw, but I didn't want it to be just an album of dance music.
No.
I was like, I consider myself to be more than just a dance music producer. And so there were lots of other styles in there. There's kind of almost sort of jazz funk. There's almost a hip hop type thing going on in there.
Oh, wicked.
There's all sorts going on in there.
It's quite a lot of genres.
Loads of genres, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was really nervous. So when it was done, and it was, we were talking to all the people that are going to help with promotion and all the other stuff. I was like, I'm really nervous. What if people don't like it? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, but everyone knows me for Fusion and Groove Orchestra. Everyone knows me for making house music.
Yeah.
And I'm about to make a lot of noise over this project that is not a house music album.
And how did that go for you?
It went brilliantly.
Yay!
Because basically what happened is that all the people that knew me for only doing house music suddenly went, crikey, there's a lot more going on in his head than we give him credit for, musically speaking.
Fantastic.
And then the other side of it was there was a load of people that had never heard of me at all because they didn't follow house music. They were almost oblivious to everything that I'd ever done over so many years.
Oh, so now you're
we're suddenly like, who's this Richard Earnshaw guy that's done this album that is getting played everywhere and is charted here and it's charted there? So it opened up a whole new sort of audience.
Oh, fantastic.
So, it was a really exciting period.
So have you got like a favourite genre that you like making?
I just like making music.
So it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't really matter to me, no.
No.
I mean, generally, most of my music is quite soulful.
Yeah.
Or it's, like, so for example, the Spirit Chaser stuff is, it's an exciting listen, if that makes sense. There's a lot of sound design going on. You listen to one of the records and sonically it just consumes you.
Really? Wait, what kind of music is this?
It's deep house, or you can call it kind of, I don't know, it's, again, genres have transitioned and they don't mean the same thing like they used to mean. So, but it's electronic music. It's got soul.
Yeah.
It absolutely has soul. It really is a soulful listen.
Wow.
But as a sonic thing, this stuff going on, it really kind of allows us to get very nerdy.
Yeah.
Placement of sounds and how sounds are moving and
Incredible.
all that. And again, still very song-based as well.
Yeah. So have you got like any big plans for where you want your music to be moving towards next? What are you working on?
Well, I am working on a new Richard Earnshaw album.
Oh, exciting.
So that's obviously a long time coming.
Okay, how long does that usually take to
the first album came out in 2010.
Oh, okay. Okay. And how long have you been working on it since then?
I think I kind of collect ideas as I go along.
Yeah.
I don't really sit down and go, right, let's make an album.
Yeah.
I'm constantly sketching stuff and I've saved things and I'll pop those there and, I'll end up with a folder with, I've got 97 ongoing projects at the moment.
Bloody hell. How do you keep that all organised?
I'm really nerdy with wording, how I call and file things and how I...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had that streak. I'm a nightmare.
Yeah. It's a little bit, it's almost a bit OCD in a way, but by doing it, I know where everything is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm working on a new Richard Earnshaw album, which I'm really going to have finished for the spring next year.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Amazing.
But I've done other albums, we've done 5 Spirit Chaser albums in this time, and there's loads of things going on all the time. Yeah. And I still love making an album.
Really?
Because it is storytelling for me. It's, I'm presenting an hour's worth of music that I would really, really like if people could listen from start to finish.
So if I listen to one of your albums, is there a story that I can follow? Like, maybe I wouldn't be able to see, but is it for you? Are you projecting?
There's definitely it's representative of my life at the time, things that are going on.
Wow.
But also I don't try to make it so specific. You always want to sort of provoke reaction in some way from so the listener takes away from it what they, it's a bit like the old, 80s horoscopes in magazines. You'd read that thing, Aries is this, Taurus is that, whatever, and you go, oh my goodness, it's so bang on. But actually, if you sort of took a step back and read all of them, you go, it's saying the same thing.
I've never done that.
But you're taking away sort of little things from it that align with your own experiences at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with music. I might write a record that is saying X. And then someone might listen to it and go, oh, that's literally just what's happened to me.
Yeah.
But then someone else might listen to it, but the I suppose the soul and the energy in the record and some of the lyrics might think, oh, that reminds me of that time when. That's not what I intended to say in that story.
They put their own story into it.
But they take away parts of it and turn it into their own little sort of creative snapshot.
And that's what's so amazing about being creative, isn't it? Because like listening to one of your tracks could inspire someone who's young and just starting out, and that could be the start of their career. Do you know what I mean? Just listening to something, it could move them, it could make them feel something.
Yeah.
Or they could see you doing, I don't know, like you become an example of that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's a huge privilege.
Yeah.
It's a huge privilege to have been allowed to do it for as long as I have. And to be able to share that with people, and for those people to be inspired themselves to start, doing their own creative journey.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beautiful things about social media, I guess. For all the moaning I have about it,
it does create a community.
It's the connections I've made with people. So and so sends me a message on Facebook or Instagram and said, "Oh, I've just started making music. I've just heard your record of this. Now I've just listened to everything, as much of it as I can. This is exactly, what I aspire to be doing. Do you have any advice?"
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's how much time do we have here?
Yeah, literally.
But and I'll try and offer as much as I can in return, because one day I'm not going to be around to make that music anymore.
No, exactly.
And so in order to preserve that, more people, and to help those people as well,
to inspire them to kind of combine that classical bit and the jazz and the soul with it as well, I think is really important and inspiring.
It certainly made life easier for me. I think, to have that
foundation,
understanding and that foundation within music. It made, when I realised what I was doing, the kind of music that I was making, things accelerated quite quickly.
Really?
And
I can imagine.
To be able to do what I needed to do in the most part myself allowed me to keep up with that.
Yeah.
I didn't think, oh God, who am I going to get to do this? Who am I going to get to do that? And who's going to help me with this bit? I don't really have a great keyboard skills. How am I going to? So it really helped. Just to be able to go, can you do this? Yes, I can.
That's amazing.
And then, and away I went.
So do you think, or how has the music industry changed you? Would you say it has? Has it had a big impact on you?
Oh, massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive impact. Both positively and negatively, I think.
Oh, really? That's interesting. What would be the negatives?
I think for me, the negatives is how the value of what we do has been cheapened, I think.
I bet that is difficult to not become resentful of
massively.
That.
But you have to, I guess it's easier for me because I'm a stubborn old git. So I just, whilst I could probably get too wrapped up in that, I just think, do you know what? I'm doing me. So if this is me here, and I try not to kind of become too wrapped up in, the things that I feel have taken away so much. But, there's always a silver lining to every cloud. So, of course, when streaming came along and it completely, it totally rewrote the way we consume music. Lots of people I knew was like, no, I'm not going to have it on streaming platforms. They rip everyone off. It's this, it's that, and I'm not going to disagree with those people at all. I'm like, yeah, sure. But I've just looked at some stats. Again, I try not to get too wrapped up in analytics because, I'm a musician, not a statistician. But I was looking at all these numbers. I'm thinking, wow. So right now, this is how many people around the world are listening to my music. This is how many people listen to all these things today.
How many
just
people?
Today?
Do you know?
Lots.
I bet.
Lots. Now, those people would never have heard my music, probably.
No.
Before. So I'm thinking...
What, because of, like, say, social media?
Yeah, well, social media and just the streaming, you know, the whole way that we consume music. So whilst I was very much in the same kind of... But these people just, you know, saying it's ruined everything, it's cheapened everything, nobody's getting any money, no. At the same time, I was like, yeah, but look at all these people that are now able to enjoy the thing that we do.
Yeah, that's so true.
We need to somehow find the balance here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think we're all still trying to find it. I, for one, was definitely like, well, I'm going to use streaming as a tool. I'm not going to let it define my ability to share my music or whether I'm a success or not. You know, I'm just going to use it as a tool. And that's exactly what we have done.
I think you've done a really good job of that.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, well, yeah,
still
exactly.
working on it. But again, for me, the positive is that there's so many people are now able to listen to the music.
Yeah, that's really important.
That would never have seen it before, heard it before. And that is important.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing, it's that community support for the art that you're creating helps the survival of it when all this other stuff is changing.
Yeah.
So
I can't even imagine what it must have been like for you. Like, I don't know, it's just spending your life learning piano and suddenly like all over the world you're known for your music, and it just must be an incredible feeling.
It's still surreal, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still basically at heart that 15-year-old kid just getting up and being excited about making music.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it took me a while growing up to realise kind of who you were musically and your audience, because as I said before, like you were just Uncle Richard to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, growing up and then suddenly kind of looking at your music channels and being like, oh my God, my dad's actually got cool friends. Like, wow, that's awesome. Do you know what I mean? You kind of don't appreciate it when you're younger.
No, I guess not. I mean, but I suppose there was a much more... I mean, I started making music for me.
Yeah.
There was no... I'm going to start making music so millions of people on TikTok can hear what I'm doing. No. It was, all I was interested in was making music that I love to make. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that by chance, in a way, I started making music that had a thing. No, it was very much a thing. So I do appreciate the difference. How, you know, people often ask me, the question is, Rich, if you were going to start today, how would you do it? And genuinely, I'd be like, I have no idea. So do you think you'd do it very differently? I would have to. You would have to, yeah. I would have to do it very differently because it's so very different now. You know, I'm lucky in the sense that because I started when I started, and, you know, all that work that you do and that reputation and legacy for the music that you make carries. And so there comes to a point where you have a fan base. Yeah. You know, again, there's a big difference, I think, between fans and followers. You know, fans will stick with you from where you start, what you do, all the bumps, twists and turns in your creative, you know, journey. Followers will drop you like a sack of Whatsit, you know. No, you're right. You're 100% right. They will follow you for the success. Have you got any like OG fans? Oh, loads. Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. You know, people that have followed me from the very beginning. That's incredible. You know, and that is what, 28 years now, nearly, I think. Yeah. So have you got any like dream collaborations, like anyone you really want to work with? Yeah. Who? I've got a list of people that I have on my phone. Okay. For this new album. So when I did the first album, you know, Jocelyn was always someone I wanted to collaborate with. Yeah. And Roy Ayres as well. Sadly, he passed recently. What an incredible man he was. Roy Ayres, the vibraphone player. Oh, yeah. And he played vibes on 2 or 3 of the tracks. Amazing. And so I do have a list. In fact, you know, my list... I'm quite curious to see this list. So I'm so bad with names, though. I bet there's some really incredible people on there, and I'd be like, who? Well... Sorry, what? I mean, Jocelyn's on there. I love Jocelyn. And do you know what? She has messaged before and just said, you know, let's get in the studio again. How did you get like in touch with Jocelyn? It was Jeff Powell, who ran the record label that I did the album with, he, I think just, there's 6 degrees of separation, isn't there?
Yeah.
You make a phone call, you talk to someone, and then suddenly you're talking to that person.
Amazing.
And I guess now things are a bit easier. You can contact these people on social media.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to name check anybody because there are so many that I would love to work with, but this list is very much a melting pot of names that you will have heard of.
Really?
And artists that are starting out, and I think that they've got something really special to offer.
So you're not fussed really if they're a big name or whether they're an emerging artist.
No,
you don't mind?
I don't mind. I align, with the people I work with because I think they can really add the thing that I can't add to this piece of music.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they happen to be well known, great. Yeah. I'm very fortunate, I suppose, that it's a bit easier for me to approach those people.
Yeah. Because,
you literally present your CV, so to speak, of the things that you've done, and they've probably heard of you, or they're like, oh, I think, names and rings a bell, or you send them a link and they listen to some of the music that you've done and the vocalists that you've worked with on various projects, and then it becomes much easier to kind of present your ideas that way.
Wow.
But I love just getting involved with, with new artists because there are lots of them out there. Yeah, and you might find an absolute gem hidden in
massively.
That.
And you're the one that's discovered them and gave them an opportunity to show their work.
Well, and it's a privilege for me to work with people that have got a real gift.
Yeah.
That excites me.
Yeah.
Because I think fantastic. I know that when we've worked on this stuff, this final product is going to just sound amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll be very proud of that. Of course, beyond that is the bit we don't have control of, which is, will people like it? But I don't really think too hard about that.
I don't think you should think about that.
No.
I think it's important if you like it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So, last question then.
Okay.
If you could take one classical song and remix it, what would it be?
Oh, my word. Right, this is a difficult one because someone recently did a house sampled version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Wow. Was it good? Oh, can you not say? You can't say, really?
I can say. I'm not going to say who
not
did
as
it,
good as what you would have done.
And I'm not going to... I know, again, this is a subjective opinion.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, nothing is sacred anymore. There are some things you just don't touch.
Don't leave it alone.
You leave them alone.
Yeah.
So I'm very aware of that. Even when I've been approached to do, let's do a cover of this. I'm like, no.
Oh, so you like to respect some of the old
the
classics.
That I will not effectively ruin this piece of music by interpreting it in a way that I think it should be done, because it was as near perfect as it could be.
Yeah.
As it was. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to do that.
No.
I've done a couple of covers and they've turned out really, really well, and slightly a different sort of a perspective, I suppose, than how they were originally done.
Yeah.
But I'm very much, let's work on original music. Let's work on music that maybe in 20, 30 years' time, other people want to do versions of it because it's become something.
Exactly.
But in terms of a classical piece of music, I have wondered, actually, I did think about doing it was more of a performance interpretation, I guess, because I love Debussy's Clair de Lune.
Oh, wow. Yeah, beautiful.
And I just thought, wouldn't it be nice to play that and somehow turn it into something that's not just piano? Almost I don't know, just experiment a little bit with it. But to start with, would involve me playing the piece of music and recording it, and then sort of working with the recording as it was.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So would you
tripping out a little bit, adding some interesting effects, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I reckon you do a great job on it.
Well, it's just a beautiful piece of music anyway. I enjoy playing it regardless, but would I want to change it into something? I don't know, maybe for a laugh for half an hour of my time,
just to see whether it works or not.
But it's I tend to tend to leave things alone, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a really good way to end it. And I think, why not bring new work out into the world that other people can get inspired by?
I know. I mean, apart from obviously painters that are deliberately forging works of art and making copies of them, you wouldn't go, oh, let's just take sunflowers and let's just do it slightly differently.
You see it though, there's just graffiti all over it. And I was like, no,
I know.
Stop.
So you just leave some, nobody would do that. You wouldn't remix the Mona Lisa, would you?
No, why would you?
Leave it alone. It was a perfect work of art.
Leave the masterpieces, make your own.
Some things, can be, covers of things can actually be really, really incredible.
Yeah.
And more often than not, I find the ones that are the best are songs that I do know, but they're not obvious classics or really, really well-known records.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an interesting cover. I know that song. What's that?
Yeah, exactly.
I like to hear those.
Yeah, me too.
But when people just sort of gravitate to the let's do a version of that really popular song
Boring.
that everyone knows, it's like, oh,
here we go again. Well, I love your music.
And thank you.
I think everyone listening needs to have a listen to Richard's music if you haven't already. Because it's incredible. Where can they find you? What's your socials?
It's all the usual platforms, Richard Earnshaw or Richard Earnshaw Official, if some other rascal has nicked my name.
Yeah.
But it's all Spotify, Apple Music, all the usual streaming.
Fantastic.
So, it's all there.
Well, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you
today.
for having me.
It's been a great chat. You're so interesting, honestly. I feel like I finally know everything that I needed to know. So it's been brilliant.
No, it has been fabulous.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you everyone for listening. That was our podcast with Creative Conversations. Tune in for next time. Bye. Creative Conversations was hosted by Sophia Gray. It was recorded at Granary Studios, audio production by Granary Digital, additional production support and editing by James Jones. For more information, visit our website at granary.digital. To contact the show, email podcast@granary.digital. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on social media.